we go.
Okay, in our last segment, we showed you how to cut your tenons on your aprons, but as we talked about earlier, the tenons for the project that we're making need to have a 45-degree angle on them. So right now I'm going to show you how to set that up. There's lots of ways to do this. The way that I find the easiest and ties up the least amount of critical equipment, like the table saw, is on the chop saw. You can certainly do it on the table saw, but we're going to do it on the chop saw. And then our chop saw is a compound miter, so we can lay the blade down, and we're going to take advantage of that in just a second. But before we do that, I want to label some things. I want to take my aprons. This is my front apron, the one that's a little wider, and my other 3 aprons, and I want to kind of figure out what I want to be the outside and the inside, because once I cut that 45, I'm establishing that inside surface. Right, so I'm going to take a look at them, and if I'm going to pick the side that I like the least and write the word "in" on it, nice and big, so that it's not mistaken. And if there's a little defect or there's some tear out on this side, make this the inside for that reason. Sometimes it doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter, just pick one. See, the knot's a little bit bigger on this side, so I'll just call this the inside, and then the same on the front. Pretty grain here, we'll make this the inside. Okay, so I now have the inside, and if you think about how that's all going to go together, if I'm standing where the front of the table is going to be, I've got an inside surface there, this, and this. So this is how these are all going together. The 45 has to angle towards the inside so that it matches up. Okay, so what I like to do is take one of them and actually draw in the angle on either end the way it's got to go, so I have something to look at when I get to the saw. I don't accidentally set it up with the boards upside down, right? So this is going to be 45 that way, so that this will meet this way, so that the heel of the miter, or the shallower end, is to the inside surface. Okay, so that's how that has to get set up. So I'm going to use this guy, the one I drew my little lines on, to set up my saw. Now we're going to do this. We're going to set the saw up so it tilts to the left. So to do that, I first want to loosen up the fence here with the wing nut in the back and pull it all the way over so it's out of the way, so that when I lower the blade down, it doesn't hit. Okay. Then I'm going to reach around the back, loosen the wing nut, and let this come all the way over. Once it's all the way down to 45, there's a stop there. Snug it back up again, and now it can come down. Try it with it off to make sure everything is hunky-dory and not going to hit anything. All right. Then I'm going to make the cut on the right side of the machine. All right, I don't want to have my hand underneath it. That'll be a little scary. So I'm going to do it here, and I have my marks here. So if I have this way, you can see that the cut is going to be going the wrong way. That's with the inside facing up. So what I want to do is I want to have it with the inside facing down. Now the cut is going in the direction that I want it to. See the advantage of having the lines on the board? You don't accidentally cut something backwards. So I'm going to have it that way. So if I see the word "in" when I'm about to make a cut, I'm about to make a mistake, right? So I should not see any writing when I'm making my cut, because the inside is facing down. Now the next step is I got to position it. If I position it too far to the left, it's going to cut the tenon off, and if it's too far right, I'm going to end up with a little flat spot on the end. So the way you do it is, again, with it off, I'm going to let the top side of the teeth just match up with the corner, just about like that. I'll point with my pencil here so you can see, maybe a little, right about there. So you can see the tooth is going to just catch the corner, just like that. That looks pretty good. So now, how do I make it do that each time? Well, I could put a stop block on this side. That'll work for the first cut, but when I turn it around, that's going to become a point, and it could be a hair shorter after I cut it. So that's going to make the apron sit too far to the right, so I really don't want to reference this end. Better if I can reference the shoulder. So what we have here is a piece of wood that I wrote "save" on. It's a piece of masonite that is just thin enough. We planed it down so it's 3/16 thick, the thickness of the shoulder. So I'm sliding it under so it touches the shoulder of the apron. So I'm pushing that in there, and that's going to be my stop block. And if I steal the 2 clamps I had off my tables off in the last video, I can clamp this in place. So I'm going to put a clamp at this end, and the same setup on the back. And now my shoulder is touching the piece of masonite there. That's my stop block. And I can double check it with it off. And it looks like it's going to be good. And the way I can test it is I can start the machine up and just let it just touch the tenon. And then take a look and see if it's cut. It's not cutting it really much shorter, maybe a fraction, but not much. And it is coming to a point. If I had a flat end, it means I'd have it too far over. And if I'm cutting like into here, it means I'm cutting it too short, so I'd have to move it over. So once I have it set where I want it, then I'm good to go. And the thing you gotta be careful of is don't accidentally catch the end. Make sure you're always check right here to make sure that you're tight up against your stop and the word in is facing down. Now here's where it's really easy to make a mistake. You say, well, I gotta cut the other end. So you flip it over to cut the other end. Well, what did I just do? I have the wrong side up. What I need to do is, after I cut one side, turn it like a steering wheel and put it down so that the same surface is down and make this cut. It's a very easy mistake to make. You're going to do this to all 4 aprons so that they all have this 45. The 2 45s should angle towards each other. You don't want to have them the same way. Again, after the first cut, turn it for the second cut. Don't flip it because the word in will be facing up, and that's not what you want. You want the in facing down for every cut. And that's how you cut the 45s, or this is the way I cut the 45s on here. By the way, one thing to keep in mind, you're doing this lefty, so make sure your right hand is in a safe place, out of the way, when you're operating this and you're working the trigger with your left hand in this operation. Thank you.